I need a new antenna gasket and a new antenna. This thing is pretty well shot. You can see that it's kind of cracking and coming off both sides here. And if I don't get it repaired, then very well could be leaking water down into the car here pretty soon. And then of course the antenna itself is just shot. So, won't be the easiest job in the world. I'll show you what I gotta do. Alright, I'm actually inside of my car in the back seat. You can see here the headliner. Not long ago I replaced that headliner. Got some wrinkles in it when I did it. It's not perfect, but here's the dome light. And the antenna is actually up underneath there on the inside. So to get to it, what I'm going to have to do is, because I have to take the base of the antenna loose so I can get that gasket out and put a new one in. I've got to come back here to the C-pillar and I've got to pull these. These are little clips that you pull those out. And they don't come all the way out. They're just like a little locking clip. And it locks in these plastic covers. And there's one on either side. And then once I do that, I'll be able to actually let this headliner board down so that I can actually get up in there and access the antenna. Let me show you from inside the tailgate looking in. Alright, so there's the tailgate. The hatch is up. And surprisingly, these things are still holding up pretty good. Anyways, so what I need to do is once I have these pillars taken loose from the inside, then I can come back here and I can drop this headliner board down. And I know it does that because, as I said, I've replaced this headliner, recovered it, I should say, and I had to take these down to get the thing in and out of there. Once I can do that, I'll just see. You probably can't see in there, but it's up inside of there that I'll be able to get to the antenna, which is up in the ceiling. And then I can loosen the base of that so that I can get to what's holding this piece on. I can get that gasket out of there, replace it, and then once I get all that put back together, I can put the new antenna on. I do have the parts, so let me show you those. Alright, so here are the parts. This is the rubber gasket piece that will go up underneath that antenna base. I got this on Amazon, I think. It feels like it's pretty good quality rubber, but you really aren't going to know until this thing's kind of out in the weather and on the automobile to see how it works. I got the antenna from Antenna Masters, looks like. Something like that. Antennas Masts Are Us, the Superstore. There's the part number. And this antenna should just screw on once I have it, but it does also come with some adapters here, so that if I need to, I can perhaps use them to get it to fit. But I'm pretty sure it should fit right on. At least in terms of when I bought it, I was told this would fit directly on my car. So I guess we'll find out. It's a 20-inch antenna, and so I'm hoping that I'll have a drastic improvement of my signal once I get it hooked up. Alright, so that's what we're after, and that's what we're going to be doing. Alright, let me show you how to release these panels back here on the C-pillar. As I mentioned before, there's this little clip here, and basically, just with your little plastic body trim tool, you slide that out. That basically unlocks it, and then you can pop it off from there. And then kind of slides up out of there. I'll have to go out and open the hatch so that there's room here to get this out, but that's essentially how you do that on this side. And I'll do the other side, and then we'll drop the top down, the headliner down, and then I'll show you what I can see for the antenna. Alright, this is going to be a bit more of a pain than I had anticipated, which is typically the case. I got those panels out, but I still can't get this to drop down, and the reason is because, and I actually had the doors open before, and I had the rubber weather stripping peeled out and everything too, but I'm gonna have to actually remove the handles and maybe even the dome light. As I recall, the dome light just has wiring that's kind of basically taped up in there. Anyways, and then I'll be able to drop this down, I think. So, but that's where we are as of this moment. All right, take these handles off. There is a little clip here. I'll open that up. That'll expose the screw and both of them, and then I'll be able to just pull that handle off. And then hopefully, I'll probably have to move this rubber stripping again on the door, and then hopefully that will let that down. Same thing goes for this side over here. So that's the plan for now. Okay. This is a T25 Torx bit screw. Okay. There's one. There's two, and these are kind of like a little Christmas tree sort of thing on there as well that goes up in there. Let's see what this did for me. Yeah. Oh, I gotta be careful. Have to be careful because there's actually an airbag up in there, so I need to not grab onto that. But that definitely allows that to drop down. So I'll have to do the other side, and then it'll drop down for me. Check this out. This does drop down. But as it turns out, oh, this is tight. And I have to be really careful because if I break this board, there's no replacement for it. So that's what I'm after. And I don't know if you can tell, but it's not super easy to get to. Yeah. Okay. Alright. Well, this escalated quickly. You'll note that I end up having to take the B-pillar things off, plastic covers off. I had to take the sunglasses holders out from the front seat so I can get just a little bit more room for this to drop down. So now I've got a bit more room here. And I got a little piece of wood kind of blocking this up. And now I can almost, let's see if I can get the camera in here. I don't know how I'm going to be able to show you this, but I got to get up into, let's see, where are we? I got to locate you in the viewfinder. Okay. Give me just a second. There we go. I got to get up into there. And you can kind of see that's not exactly easy to get to. So I don't know how I'm going to film it, but I'll do my best. Oh yeah, one other thing. As I said before, if I break this ceiling liner, headliner board, I'm in trouble because you can't get those anymore. They do not make them. Great. Alright, I got it loose. What I've had to do is take some vice grips and go up in here. Oof, I'm not sure I can do this just looking at the viewfinder on the camera, but anyways, see if I can demonstrate this to you or not. Probably not. From this angle anyways. And now you can't see anything but my hand, but I have that loose. You can turn it only so far before it gets tight again and I have to put the vice grips on it. That's the only thing I can get up in there to actually turn on it. Yeah. So I'm going to keep working on this till I get it out, but that's essentially what I'm after. Okay. I got that loose. Now I have this loose from the roof. Now I got to figure out how to get this unplugged so that I can pull that thing clear up out of there. Alright, I have updates. So there was a connector here, as you can see, and this is to the antenna, and I think the GPS system. This has an OnStar on it, even though I don't have it subscribed to it. So that comes out from there. So now I ought to be able, I took the little nut off of there. So now I ought to be able to pull that up through. So let's check it out. The gasket old one just disintegrated before, so I already peeled it out. There it is. Alright, so now I just gotta put the new gasket on there. I've also got to clean that spot. That is nasty. So I'll clean all that up before I put the new gasket on there, and then I'll put it all back together. Alright, so the good news is it does not look like any water actually got down in there. Even though that old gasket was disgusting. I'll show that to you in a little bit. I kept the remnants of it so you can kind of see it. But alright, I'm going to put the new gasket on here and reinstall this. More updates. Alright, that little rubber piece, that little gasket, it's I think the right size, but it is fighting me to get sealed onto this. I need to seal it onto the bottom of this before I put it back into the car. So I'm going to keep working it. If I kind of keep stretching this and kind of maybe heating it up a little bit, just with my hands, not with a torch or anything like that. Maybe I can get it stretched on there pretty good. Good enough anyways, and be able to put it back in. So that's what I'm dealing with now, but it's taking me a little time here. Alright, I got the rubber gasket on there. It is super tight. It barely fits on there, but I suppose that's better than maybe being too big. So I've got it set back down in there, and now I'm going to go back under there and try to put all this back together. Alright, I got that back on. It's tight. Let me show you up around the top. Alright, so here it is up top. You can see that we got it flush here. It's tight. It's actually kind of squished that gasket a little bit back here on the back. That is a one tight fitting gasket on that thing, so hopefully it'll be okay and not leak. It's certainly better than what I took off of there. So now all that's left to do is plug in the antenna wire right here. In fact, I might be able to do that even one-handed. Let's find out. There's only one way it can go, so it's got kind of a half moon shape. Well, hang on. I'm not hearing it click yet. There it goes. Click. Alright. And then that'll tuck that back up in there and stick that back where it goes. Put all this back together. Put all my plastic pillar pieces back on. All the screws into the things I had to take off up in there. The handles and the sunglasses holders and all that kind of stuff, and put it all back together. Alright, I have screwed in the little adapter here. Now I'm ready to put on the new antenna. Alright, there it is. Now I want to put this on and test it before I put everything back together. Alright, I'm in the car. I'll turn this on and see if we get a signal, which we should. And I won't play much because I don't want to get a strike against me or anything, but... Yep. We have no static. That means it's working. Alright, I about got it all back together. I've got one more handle to put in, so I'm working on that now. Yeah, everything has kind of gone back together pretty well, pretty easily. A lot of the clips and things sort of, in a sense, almost kind of fall back into place because, they just kind of, when you got everything lined up, it just sort of clicks right in and you're ready to go. So, got that side in over there. I got the back, all those panels in the back put back together. I've got the front pieces screwed back in, the sunglass holders and things like that, so we're good to go. So just this last handle to go here, and then it's all back together, and we'll be pretty much done with this job. I'll give everything a last look over, make sure everything's good. Done. Alright, just to wrap up things, you can see why I needed a new gasket. This is the one I bought. Actually came with 2 in the package, so you can see. And you can also see it's a little bit smaller, and I suspect that what happened is that this just sort of stretched out over time as it broke. You can see it just rotted away to nothing. The new one, this square, was a little bit smaller, but everything that needed to fit down through there fit down through. One thing on the car that I noticed is it took me a little while to kind of crank this down and get it tight. I really fought with that thing, getting my hand up in that really tight area where to turn that nut and put it on. But it took a little bit because there was still a gap on this end, which would be towards the front of the car, until I finally got it tight enough that it settled in. So that took me a minute. You can tell the antenna is pretty well rotten. This kind of sheathing on here, whatever that is, just sort of peeled off. It's cracked down here. My reception was staticky and not great. So now with the new antenna on there, it actually sounds pretty good and no static at all. So I feel a lot better about that. So essentially, that wraps up that job on the Astra. It was a bit of a pain to do because I had to drop the headliner down, but aside from that, we're good to go.